Okay, we have to talk about the new cover for the Ravenloft book that's coming out this year. Just take it all in. Hold on, I'll shrink myself and pull myself down to try to unobstruct this as much as possible. We have the artist credit over here. I got this like clean version without the Ravenloft text on it from their Blue Sky account. And I'll be honest, I didn't know how I felt about it at first. I was very sleep deprived the day that I saw this. I was very, very tired. So I took a day away to reassess, and I really enjoyed this cover now. And I want to talk about all the little details that I'm kind of surprised that they decided to focus and allow to be on this cover, but are like beautiful Easter eggs for people who know Curse of Strahd, particularly Strahd's backstory. The someone who doesn't have the knowledge would probably not realize that it's there, and why I appreciate that these were details included for the cover of the new Ravenloft book. So let's start with It's Dark. It's immediately a dark scene. We have several dead people that we can reasonably assume that Strahd has killed. This could be a hint at something from his backstory. This is going to be my one warning to click away if you don't want spoilers. This could be any amount of massacres that he has done, but particularly could be referencing the fateful wedding night that like led to his ascension as a vampire. So it's at very least a reference. If it's not that, it's probably not that. But I appreciate that it is showing Strahd's cruelty and violence like at the forefront. And with the bones on the platter up there, this has been a feast of some sorts. Multiple definitions of the word feast there. I appreciate that. And then before I zoom into some parts, of course, there's also a lot of like raven motifs throughout that we could see, because there seems to be feathers on Strahd's like cloak or mantle or whatever the right word would be there, as well as there's a raven on the throne, the chair that he's on. And ravens are a huge part of the motifs and themes of Ravenloft in general, not just Curse of Strahd, throughout the entirety of the Domains of Dread. They are very vital and important. So I appreciate they are here as much as I personally think that Strahd is kind of disgusted by them for reasons I can go into in a different video. But now to get into some close-ups, of course we gotta talk about Strahd himself. His eyes are glowing and sinister, which I really appreciate. I honestly kind of like that he looks a little bit more attractive here, because I've never thought the original Curse of Strahd cover made him look attractive. In fact, he reminded me of a high school teacher of mine, so I couldn't wrap my head beyond the morality of it all, people being attracted to Strahd without like making their own art. Whereas like this is one that you could present and be like, okay, yeah, he's a bad guy, but like maybe I could be the one to distract him if that's what the party needs, you know? His claws, his talons. Ooh, I don't love those, but they look good. I appreciate that we didn't forget about the Von Zarevich ruby that he always wears, as well as like the embroidery on his vest, or the brocade of it, whatever we want to say. It's like the infinity symbol, which feels like a nod to his eternal curse that no matter what, the cycle will continue again and again and again and again, and it's just gonna go on for infinity. Maybe that wasn't intentional, but I'm picking up on that, and I like that. Thank you very much. And then lastly, I would like to point out the two here in the back, this ghostly woman and then the portrait that is torn. I was surprised about the portrait. Really, really was surprised about the portrait. So I'm going to start there because Curse of Strahd has always been such a focus on like the misogynistic like possessiveness over Irina Kolyana, who is a reincarnation of Tatiana, Strahd's long lost love. And we know a little bit of the backstory with his brother Sergei, but they never really fully get into it in the 2014 version, or even really in the original Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. So having this portrait of who I'm assuming is Sergei, because I don't know who else it would be, that he has torn to shreds because of his jealousy and his greed and his envy of his younger brother, having that be on the cover, again, that's like hinting at Strahd is more fully faceted and well-rounded than a lot of people treat him. That a lot of his issues stem from this stuff, not just his obsession with a woman, and his want to own something he can't have. And that's the relationship with his brother and his father and all this stuff. So just getting that on the cover of the new Ravenloft, I'm very excited about that. We've never allowed that to be a focus, and here we are. And then of course this ghostly woman here. This could be a spirit of anyone, really. I'm also assuming this is feminine because with that being behind Strahd and in front of Sergei's portrait, it's fair to assume that this is Tatiana, the woman who haunts the narrative of every Curse of Strahd campaign. Always there, kind of unfortunately the doomed source of why the Domains of Dread come into being and why Strahd ascends and is forever cursed because of a man's wrongdoings. So having potentially that being Tatiana there at the forefront as well as someone who's going to haunt your campaign forever and be the source of why things are happening, I also really appreciate that we didn't ignore her as well on the cover. That it's not just about Strahd, it's about the three of their stories. So yeah, that's gonna do it. This was a little long. If you stuck around for all these details, I appreciate you hard. Yeah. What do you think about the cover? Did I miss anything? Did I miss any Easter eggs that I didn't talk about or just didn't want to go on too long before? What do you guys think?